It's a very, very central piece of the relief from suffering. To be able to see the fact of the non-existence of the self. Of course, it's not just the self, it's everything. It's this table, if that's what it is, this little thing here. If I took the, we'll call it a table, if I took the legs off and put them there, and I took the top off and put it over there, which part of that is the table? Is it the legs? Is it the top? Which part's the table? All of it. All of it?
And also none of it. So.
It's only a table when we put it all together to make a table. In other words, it's completely dependent on things coming together to make it into this thing that we describe by its function as a table. Now, I don't actually, because I feel this is so important, I don't want to leave this part of the talk without being sure that you've seen what I'm talking about. So does anyone, I know we usually do questions at the end, but does anyone have any input at this point?
I think it's,
Yes.
you know, like you said, whatever its purpose is, but it could be a boat, or it could be a stool, or it could, you know, it's what we think it could be, too.
Right. And of course, that has enormous importance for what you think you are.
I have a joke.
Yes, please.
I think in the joke it was a Jewish woman, and she said, if there's no self, whose arthritis is this? Whose arthritis is this?
Whose arthritis?
It is a hard one to realize, you know, because you sit there and say there's no self, but there is also self. There is and there isn't. But it's the attachment to the very concept, that's all it is, the concept of the self, that can make things so painful. We were meditating in the garden last Tuesday. I have, in fact, starting next week, there'll be 5 opportunities to sit with me if you like to. We meditated in the garden on Tuesday, and we did eating meditation. Because you know that I say meditation is 24/7. It's not just something you sit down and sit in a nice pose and then get up and it's all over. That would be kind of pointless. So we were in the garden the other day, and we were doing eating meditation. I had some raspberries and someone else brought some cookies. And actually I thought it was one of the most beautiful bits of meditation I've ever been in. And there wasn't one thing that made it that beautiful. The raspberries were lovely, but then the combination with the chocolate chip cookies, and then the fact that it was a nice bunch of guys, that we were all sitting there, and then it was a beautiful day, and then we were in the garden, and suddenly the red of the raspberries matched the red of a rose over here, and it was just, I actually felt it was so beautiful I almost started to cry. And it was everything coming together. It wasn't just one thing. You couldn't have taken one element away without the whole thing falling over. So similarly, you know, the concept of Sangha, and I have mentioned this before, but coming together, there is actually no way, no matter how independent we feel, there's no way to exist completely alone. It's just obvious. But coming together, especially coming together for something wonderful like we're doing today, exploring our freedom, exploring our liberation, exploring the possibilities of that together. How wonderful to have brothers and sisters to do that with. So community is very important. I mentioned before, someone said to me, I didn't see you the other week because I wasn't feeling well and I was feeling a bit low. Come, join together when you feel that way. There's our community, there's our Sangha. And there's a lovely kind of interdependence, a wonderful kind of interdependence. Of course, I had to have a little roomie on this matter. And I often use Rumi, as you mentioned, I do have a little contract with Tenderloin Housing Clinic, and I perform maybe two or three memorials a week. And I'm always looking for lovely poetry for the memorials. So of course Rumi is just wonderful. If anyone's not heard of him, here he is. Absolutely wonderful. And if you look at his poetry through the eye of dependent co-arising, or through the eyes just simply of nothing exists alone, you will have a beautiful experience, because remember in his poems, for example, he uses the term beloved, and you don't know if he's calling his lover beloved or if he's calling the higher power beloved, and he intermingles the two. I think he's actually one of the best poets on non-separation. So I'd like to share this one with you. It's called Say I Am You. I am dust particles in sunlight. I am the round sun. To the bits of dust I say, stay. To the sun, keep moving. I am morning mist and the breathing of evening. I am the wind in the top of a grove and surf on the cliff. Mast, rudder, helmsman and keel, I am also the coral reef they founder on. I am a tree with a trained parrot in its branches, silence, thought and voice. The musical air coming through a flute, a spark of a stone, a flickering in metal, both candle and the moth crazy around it, rose and the nightingale lost in the fragrance. I am all orders of being, the circling galaxy, the evolutionary intelligence, the lift and the falling away. What is and what isn't? You the one in all, say who I am. Say I am you. Oh dear me. Time always seems to go so fast. And I do want to have plenty of time for discussion. Actually, the idea of questions and answers sounds like I have the answers, which, no, we actually have some answers.